Section 21. Bhima said, 5 on the might of my horns and 5 on the Gandiva of Falguni, inasmuch as thy hands, red before, now become covered with corns. I would have caused her carnage in Virata's court, but for the fact that Kunti's son hired me by way of forbidding it, or like a mighty elephant, I would without ado have crushed the head of the Kichaka, intoxicated with the pride of sovereignty. When, O Krishna, I beheld thee kicked by Kichaka, I conceived at that instant a wholesale slaughter of the Matsyas. Yudhishthira, however, forbade me by a glance, and, O beauteous lady, understanding his intention, I have kept quiet, that we have been deprived of our kingdom, that I have not yet slain the Kurus, that I have not yet taken the heads of Suyodhana and Karna, and Suvala's son Sakuni, and the wicked Dusasana. These acts and omissions, O lady, are consuming every limb of mine. The thought of those abides in my heart like a javelin implanted in it. O thou of graceful hips, do not sacrifice virtue, and the noble-hearted lady, subdue thy wrath. If King Yudhishthira hear from thee such rebuffs, he will surely put an end to his life. If also Dhananjaya and the twins hear thee speak thus, even they will renounce life. And if these, O slender-waisted maiden, give up life, I also shall not be able to bear my own. In olden days, Sarjati's daughter, the beautiful Sukanya, followed into the forest Chavana of Brigu's race, whose mind was under complete control, and over whom, while engaged in ascetic meditation, the hands had built a hill. Thou mayst have heard that Indrasena also, who in beauty was like unto Narayani herself, followed her husband, aged 1,000 years. Thou mayst have heard that Janaka's daughter Sita, the princess of Videha, followed her lord while living in dense woods, and that lady of graceful hips, Rama's beloved wife, afflicted with calamities and persecuted by the Rakshasas, at length regained the company of Rama. Lopamudra also, O timid one, endued with youth and beauty, followed Agastya, renouncing all the objects of enjoyment unattainable by men, and the intelligent and faultless Savitri also followed the heroic Satyavan, the son of Dyumatsena, alone in the world into the world of Yama. Even like these chaste and beautiful ladies that I have named, thou, O blessed girl, bloomest with every virtue. Do thou spend a short while, more that is measured by even a half a month, and when the 13th year is complete, thou will again become the queen regnant of a king. Hearing these words, Draupadi said, Unable, O Bhima, to bear my griefs, it is from grief alone that I have shed these tears. I do not censure Yudhishthira, nor is there any use in dwelling on the past. O Bhima of mighty strength, come quickly forward to the work of the hour. O Bhima, Kaikeyi, jealous of my beauty, always pains me by her endeavors to prevent the king from taking a fancy to me, and understanding this disposition of hers, the wicked-souled Kichaka of immoral ways constantly solicits me himself, angry with him for this. But then, suppressing my wrath, I answer that wretch, deprived of sense by lust, saying, O Kichaka, protect thyself, I am the beloved queen and wife of 5 Gandharvas. Those heroes in wrath will slay thee that art so rash. Thus addressed Kichaka of wicked soul replied unto me, saying, I am not the least fear of the Gandharvas. O Sailendri of sweet smiles, I will slay 100,000 Gandharvas, encountering them in battle. Therefore, O timid one, do thou consent. Hearing all this, I again addressed the lust-afflicted Sudha, saying, Thou art no match for those illustrious Gandharvas, of respectable percentage and good disposition. I ever adhere to virtue and never wish for the death of anyone. It is for this that thou I vest, O Kichaka. At this, that weight of wicked soul burst out into a loud laughter, And it came to pass that Kaikeyi, previously urged by Kichaka and moved by affection of her brother and desirous of doing him a good turn, dispatched me to him, saying, Do thou, O Sairindri, fetch wine from Kichaka's quarters. And beholding me, the Suta's son at first addressed me in sweet words, and when that failed, he became exceedingly enraged and intended to use violence. Understanding the purpose of the wicked Kichaka, I speedily rushed towards the palace where the king was. Felling me on the ground, that wretch kicked me in the very presence of the king himself, and before the eyes of Kanka and many others, including charioteers and royal favorites, and elephant riders and citizens. I rebuked the king and Kanka again and again. The king, however, neither prevented Kichaka nor inflicted any chastisement on him. The principal ally of King Virata in war, the cruel Kichaka, reft of virtue, is loved by both the king and the queen, who exalted one, brave, proud, sinful, adulterous, and engrossed in all objects of enjoyment. He earns immense wealth from the king, and robs the possessions of others, even if they cry in distress. And he never walketh in the path of virtue, nor doth he any virtuous act. Of wicked soul and vicious disposition, haughty and villainous, and always afflicted by the shafts of Kama. Though repulsed repeatedly, if she sees me again, he will outrage me. I shall then surely renounce my life, although striving to acquire virtue on my death. Your highly meritorious acts will come to naught. Ye that are now obeying your pledge, they will lose your wife. By protecting one's wife, one's offspring are protected, and by protecting one's offspring, one's own self is protected. And it is because one begets one's own self in one's wife that the wife is called Jaya by the wise. The husband also should be protected by the wife, thinking, how else will he take his birth in my womb? I have heard it from Brahmanas, expounding the duties of the several orders, that a Kshatriya hath no other duty than subduing enemies. Alas, Kichaka kicked me in the very presence of Yudhishthira, the just, and also of thyself, O Bhimasena of mighty strength. It was thou, O Bhima, that didst deliver me from the terrible Jatasura. It was thou also that with thy brothers didst vanquish the Yadrata. Do thou now slay this wretch also who hath insulted me, presuming upon his being a favourite of the king. Kichaka, O Bharata, hath enhanced my hoe. Do thou therefore smash this lustful wight, even like an earthen pot dashed upon a stone. If, O Bharata, tomorrow's sun sheds his rays upon him, who is the source of many griefs of mine, I shall surely, mixing poison with some drink it up, for I never shall yield to Kichaka. For better it were, O Bhima, that I should die before thee. Vaisampayana continued. Having said this, Krishna, hiding her face in Bhima's breast, began to weep, and Bhima, embracing her, consoled her to the best of his power. And having abundantly consoled that slender-waisted daughter of Drupada, by means of words fraught with grave reason and sense, he wiped with his hands her face flooded with tears, and thinking of Kichaka and licking with his tongue the corners with his mouth, Bhima, filled with wrath, thus spake to the distressed lady. Thus ends the 21st section in the Kichaka-badha Parva of the Virata Parva.